Hi, it's Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go ahead and get that claimed. Smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, in this episode, I want to teach you reframing skills. Reframing. Now, what does reframing mean? Reframing is a skill to deploy for yourself and then also for your clients and prospects. And the definition of reframe is really to relook or look at something differently. So there's a couple different framing skills. There's pre-frame, reframe, and deframe. You can Google these. They're based on NLP and some other high-level influence skills. I use a lot of this in my work. And what we really want to talk today about reframing. Now, why do we want to talk about reframing? Because in our current market and business environment, your communication with yourself and with your clients and with prospects is really about reframing. So let's give you a quick synopsis. So for what framing is, just think about like if I were to hold a picture frame and it didn't have a picture of just the frame itself, and that was what you saw right here. So here's your view, right? It's going to have a certain view, right? So that may serve us, it may not serve us. So what a reframe is having you take that picture frame and move it, alter it, give a different perspective on what we're looking at. So if we look at it in today's world, and I'm going to speak in a duality, the advisor side of things and then also the client side of things. Okay. So when you're looking at things today, so when you're framing things for yourself, what most people are right now, and it's shockingly, right, what have you done for me lately, the here and now? So what does that mean? That people have short memories. So they're looking at their world through the lens of today. And for a lot of us, today sucks, right? Markets are not great, inflation is not great, world conditions are not great, so on and so forth. And so if you only look at it myopically, so think about I took this big picture frame now, and now I'm going to squeeze it down. So here's the new frame. This is all you're going to see, like a porthole, like a telescope, okay? And if I'm looking at current events, and that's all I'm looking at, and that's all I'm taking in, it's going to affect my mindset. It may make me fearful, may make me scarce, may make me uncomfortable, may make me uncertain, right? All those emotions. And so when a human being has this toxic brew of that, right? Uncertainty, fear, scarcity, and again, we're talking about the advisor for a second. What happens when you're kind of mixing that in your head? You basically shut down. And you go absolutely in survival mode. You're no longer thinking about your bigger, brighter, bolder future. In fact, for some of you, you've already thought about abandoning that concept. and you're trying to figure out how to survive, which is code for how do I get through today? Not how do I drive a result for today, or how am I going to grow my business today, or how do I help more people or impact more people? It's like, how do I survive today? So the real danger from the advisor perspective on being very myopic in your frame is more often than not, it will cause you to go scarce, negative, survival, and then all the things that made you successful to this point, you basically, hopefully only temporarily, but you abandon them, okay? On the client side, when you get the client calling, I can't take it anymore, or I'm concerned, like that, it's again, what are they looking at? Year to date, year over year performance, right? They're not looking at the last 15 years that you were working with them, right? Or anything like that. So they get very myopic, right? So that causes a problem. And so let's put this toxic mix together for a second. So here I have a client who's now in uncertainty kind of quote unquote freak out mode. And now I have an advisor who's basically in their own version of that, right? Scarce, trying to get through things, focused on the wrong things, highly myopic. Oh my God, my money line's going down. My production's going to go down. Every day I'm losing a couple $1 million of assets because of the market, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff you can't control. So now you're supposed to help another human being. You can't even help yourself. I'm going to go to a story real quick. It just came to my mind, and if you've been watching and listening to this show and me for a while, stuff pops in my brain, and I just want to share it because it shows up. So I'm going to go back to a conversation I had with a former client. Keyword is former here. A former client. This was the end of February, early March of 2020. You all remember that time, right? So here was the conversation. I get a call from him. Hey, we got to stop working together. Okay, Doug. His name is Doug. Looking at the last names or work firm he's now. His name was Doug. Doug, okay. Hey, look, man, talk to me. First off, I'm like, okay, here it is. Talk to me, right? And he goes, hey, I got to save every dime possible. I said, okay, well, I'm curious now. And I literally can hear the panic on the phone. I can just feel it. I can feel his emotions. This pandemic thing, the world's going to be in a depression. This is going to be like in the late 1928, 20. This will be like soup lines again. I said, you really believe that? He goes, oh yeah, man. And this guy's up in New England. He goes, oh yeah, this is going to be terrible, man. You don't understand. We're going to have the deepest depression ever. It's okay. And what I've learned, by the way, sidebar, what I've learned when you have somebody in that deep of an emotional state, you can't dig them out of it if they don't want to help dig themselves out. And he did not want to dig himself out, right? And by the way, this guy was always kind of side. He wasn't the most positive person to begin with. So it's like, okay, the embers were already burning. Now we threw some gas on it. Hi, Coach Joe Lukacs here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. So I said to him, look, man, let me help you understand this. So you truly believe this? He goes, yeah, it's okay. So what action are you going to take? He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, yeah, what action are you going to take? Well, if you believe this to be true, what are you going to do? Are you going to sell? Are you selling all your security? You're going to cash in your 401k? Are you going to, are you buying gold or seed? Are you going to buy a bunker somewhere in Montana? What are you going to do? And I was kind of poking him a little bit, but I was also serious. Man, what are you going to do? And he didn't think about that. That's a good question. I don't know. I said, look, man, if you really believe this, you got to take some sort of action. Then I followed up with a bigger question. What are you going to tell your clients? Because if you truly believe this, but yet you're going to tell your clients to stay in the market, don't ever use the word fiduciary again. It was bullshit. Excuse my language. And we kind of went back and forth a little bit, and then they said, I got to go. Never heard from him again. Out of curiosity, I don't know if he's even in the business anymore. Nice guy, by the way. Never got control of his emotional states. Okay? Bottom line. So, if you're spiraling as the advisor, and now you have to go influence another human being, i.e. a client, you are powerless. You are powerless. So how do you reframe things? First off, it's conscious. How do you do it consciously? You have to sit there and ask yourself a series of questions, right? Question number one. And by the way, I'm giving you my what we call a meta model. I'll give you my meta model. Question number one. Is this condition temporary? Is this condition temporary? So market pullback, correction, bear market, stagflation, whatever. In history, are situations temporary? The answer is yes. Okay? That's important because you're not thinking that right now. You're thinking about this present day moment, and a reframe is perspective. So what I want you to do is pull yourself back for a second. Okay, pull yourself back. And I want you to do what I call a 10 and 10. So is this condition temporary? If you answer yes, hopefully you did, then I want you to do a 10 and 10. What's a 10 and 10? I want you to look back 10 years. Some of you may not have been in business. I want you to look at what you've accomplished and achieved in the last 10 years. And for some of you, I need you to write that down, personally and professionally. Here's what I've achieved since it's 2022, so what, 2012, okay? Next, here's my vision for the next 10 years. So 2032, write that down. What we're doing is sucking and we're doing a reframe. Because right now, you're myopic here, and you need to get perspective. And then once you do this, once you do the 10-year past, and you do 10-year future, a couple questions. Question number one, if you look 10 years in the past, have you made tremendous strides both personally and professionally? Yes or no? Right? If the answer is no, you have a bigger, this is not your problem. There's something else. Next question. Do you believe, based upon what your vision is over the next 10 years, that you have a bigger, brighter, bolder future? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you have bigger problems. The answer is yes. Here's what you got. Okay? And what I would have you do, if you were working with me personally, I would have you repetition this every morning to get your mind around this. That, hey, the situation's temporary. Look at the growth I've had last decade. Look at the growth I'm going to have in the next decade. I just have to get through this storm called whatever, 2022, right? And I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how long this is going to go on. I don't know what the final market's going to look like December 31st of 2020. I have no idea. That's not my jam. And none of you do either, by the way. But here's what I know. All conditions are temporary. Okay? All conditions are temporary. Now, choice. There are two types of advisors that I've seen in my career, and I've been doing this for almost 30 years. So, 08, 09, tech crash, Y2K, all that stuff, right? Pandemic. There are two types of advisors. Those who are victims and those who are victors. Now, what do I mean by that? Victim. This sucks. There's nothing I can do. The reason why my income's going down is because of the market. The reason why I'm not successful is because of the market or my firm or compliance. All victim. They view themselves as the victim. They take no personal responsibility. Okay? Now, if that's you, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. Let me be very clear. It doesn't mean you're a bad person or you're an idiot or anything like that. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that the language, the conversations you have with yourself is abdicating your responsibility to yourself and to your family. Okay? One side of the ledger. Other side. Victor. What does Victor look like? And Victor is in victory, not Victor as a dude. Okay? Victor. Take personal responsibility. This sucks right now. But in the suck are opportunities that most of my competitors / colleagues are not going to go after. Here's what I find in this industry. When things are good, I say this respectfully, when things are really good, I think half the industry works, half the industry still coasts. My opinion. When things are the way you are today, that number changes to, I think 80% of the people try to coast, get by, 20% of people go to work and grow. So think about this. The last time we had anything kind of even closely resembling this was the fall of 08 and spring of 09. Those 2 quarters, right? Basically 2 quarters, 6 months. Now, I don't know if this will be a 6-month thing or not. I have no idea. But I can tell you that a vast majority of the industry shut down. was in fear, scarcity, survival mode, was not thinking about growing their business, was not thinking about their clients or anything like that. They're thinking of themselves. Remember this, the more you think about yourselves, the more you're going to struggle inside this game. Why? Because you need the cooperation of other people, they're called clients and prospects, in order for you to achieve what you want. Your fate is tied to the value you create for other human beings, period. And if you're not thinking about those other human beings, guess what? You're not creating value. Hence, your revenue and everything will shrink, okay? On the other side, the 20%, right? We go to work. What does that mean? We ask for referrals. We look to consolidate, optimize. We let our COIs know we're open for business. We're here to help. We get out there. We make it about other human beings. We don't make it about ourselves. You do that. You're richly rewarded. When things come back, you're going to have exponential growth. I've seen it. I've watched my clients do it. But here's the thing, and I'm going to leave you with this. It's a choice. You choose to either be the victim or you choose to be the victor. The victim requires no energy. You can be who you are today, just tell yourself it sucks, look what I can't do anything, have that narrative and float through the day. Requires zero energy. If you want victory, requires energy. Mental, physical, and emotional energy. You got to cowboy up or cowgirl, whatever you want to say. You've got to act differently. You've got to raise your standards, take care of yourself, do all those things. It's work. It's uncomfortable. Not easy. Easy is victim. Not easy is victor. Thanks for watching and listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.